Welcome, everybody, to another fantastic spring break edition of Inside Franklin Athletics podcast. I am your host, Brian Powers. Chaz Hill will be joining us shortly, hopefully. I am coming to you from an undisclosed location. It is on a beach somewhere, sandy beach, just like we all planned for spring break. Just kidding. I am actually in my front porch near Decatur Central High School. So I am not on any sort of tropical vacation, but we have with us a special guest. We have with us 2019 Franklin Community High School graduate. He leads the Franklin all-time receivers in catches, receiving yards, touchdowns, touchdown passes, rushing yards, and yards after catch. He also is fourth in tackles and second in fumble recoveries, third in kickoff return yards, and fourth in punting, all-time punting. He was multi-talented. On the basketball court, he was a 1,000-point scorer, a member of the 14th team All-State. He was 12th runner-up in Mr. Basketball voting. He was a third runner-up for McDonald's All-American game, and he was fourth team All-American, academic All-American. I'm sorry, I misread that one. We have with us today 2019 Franklin Community High School graduate Corey Richards.
I don't think you missed a single accolade. I think you got them all.
Good. See, that some people either are like, you do your research or you don't. I prefer to say that I did a ton of research. How you doing today, Corey?
I'm doing all right. How about yourself?
I'm good. So first things first, how are you handling this whole quarantine 2020?
I'm figuring out like the rest of us. I should actually be on a beach like you said. So I'm kind of upset about that. But yeah, I'm figuring stuff out as we go and get more information. But yeah, it's been a little different, doing the online classes now and, not being on campus. It's been a little different, but it's nice to be home again. And yeah, I'm figuring out as we go.
Now, you are currently at Ball State, is that correct?
Correct.
And you're kind of in transition with that as well, aren't you?
Right.
So where are you going to be next year?
So next year I am transferring from Ball State and going to Franklin College to play basketball.
Okay. How has that decision been kind of affected by everything that's going on and everything that we've had going on here lately?
I don't think any of this had an effect on it. I've had my mind made up for even before all this went going. I pretty much had my mind made up about transferring to play basketball.
What about the actual everything, is there any complications as far as the paperwork or the classes or anything like that, or is it just kind of an annoyance more so than anything else?
Yeah, I've got all that paperwork figured out, but yeah, it was definitely a struggle getting all the transfer recommendation stuff and all that switched from college to college, but I've gotten all figured out and I've been accepted into Franklin, so I think everything's done for in that department.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on that. So we always talked about everyone's talked about for the last 3 weeks, I guess, has been this COVID-19. So we're going to be done talking about that. So
all right,
we're going to switch gears here. Kind of take us back. What sports did you play growing up? Are you originally from Franklin? Like I said, when we first kind of reached out, we will do zero research on you. So and Chaz and I, neither of us know you. This is the first time I've ever met you. So fill in this plate for us.
Yeah, I think I originally grew up in Beech Grove, but I moved to Franklin to start my kindergarten year. So I've been here since I was in kindergarten. I've played basketball since I was 5, I believe. So I've played that from 5 to pretty much now. And then I played football briefly growing up, but I stopped playing in about 5th or 6th grade. And then I also played baseball growing up until 6th or 7th grade as well. But going into high school, I played basketball all 4 years. And then I played football my senior year.
So So you didn't play football at all in growing up, or like in high school?
No, I
And
only
then,
played the senior year.
now, what are you at? So that means my stats were a little bit off. My research.
We don't have to tell anybody that, but
Oh
it's
man!
already out there.
So you're at Ball State. What'd you go to Ball State for?
I went to Ball State as a preferred walk-on to play football.
Oh, so
Yeah,
you didn't even play football until your senior year, but now you're a walk on at Ball State.
correct.
That's crazy. So how did you get back into football?
It was a lot of people trying to talk me into it more than anything because a lot of people they see me play basketball and they're like, wow, you could do this on the football field. So a lot of people just were like, hey, come out and try it. You might as well. So I kind of gave it a shot. And, I honestly had no clue where I was going to go with it. And it took me farther than I thought it would, honestly.
Yeah, no kidding. So who were some of the people who were all on your case about playing football?
Coach Call, he was obviously on me because he knew how athletic I was. His son Clayton, me and Clayton are really close. We roomed together this year. He was all about me playing because he's seen me play basketball too. And then I talked to my family about it, and they're like, you know what? As long as you don't get hurt, I don't see why not.
Yeah, that's interesting that that happened. Those calls are kind of persuasive, aren't they?
Yeah, a little bit.
Once they get their paws on you, they're persuasive. Now, what about with were they kind of working on you and Christian McClure at the same time, or?
Yeah, Christian came in when I did, but he's a year below me, obviously.
Right.
But yeah, we started playing pretty much at the same time. He came in during the summer, kind of late in the summer workouts, and we both gave it a shot.
Yeah. So when you were growing up, why did you initially back out or stop playing football?
I think the big part was I wanted to focus on basketball year round.
Mm-hmm.
And, playing 3 sports is definitely tough growing up. But I decided I wasn't having as much fun playing football. So I just decided to quit and then focus on basketball.
I gotcha. So growing up and playing basketball and everything, kind of what are some of your earliest memories of playing basketball?
Probably the Boys and Girls Club days. I know a lot of people go up through the Boys and Girls Club. I know my little brother is right now. So I remember those days a little bit. Obviously starting into travel basketball about first, second grade. But yeah, those are the earliest memories I got.
Yeah, it's funny. So you were the third person that's come on here and talked about the Boys and Girls Club. So it would be Mr. Doty, the athletic director,
Yeah.
Jake Sappenfield on Friday, and then you now. So it's kind of interesting how this big of a part the Boys and Girls Club has played in Franklin fabric.
Right.
Yeah. So, did you play AAU growing up, or how was kind of that?
Yeah, I played AAU. I want to say when I was in 5th grade, 6th grade when I started.
Yeah.
And I played it all the way up until it would have been the end of my junior year. So that last summer I was able to play.
What team did you play? What teams did you play on?
I played for a team called Indy Fast Break for about 3 or 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then I switched over to an Indiana Elite team for my last 3 years of AAU.
Okay. So looking at AAU and growing up and everything, who was the best player you ever played against and with?
Well, that's a tough one. There's a lot of good athletes and players that I saw growing up. I can't remember if we played against him in AAU.
Just say yes.
All right. Keon Brooks.
Oh, yeah.
He's at Kentucky right now.
Yeah.
We've played against him. We've played against guys, obviously, like Trace Jackson Davis. We played him in high school, but we played him a lot. Those are 2 of the top ones I'd have to go with. There's a lot of, mid-major guys that are playing mid-major D1 ball right now that we played against, but those are probably 2 of the top ones.
Did you ever feel I guess intimidated going against someone, or oh my gosh, I don't know how we're going to stop this person?
I don't really get intimidated too much. Obviously, I know they're maybe a little bit better, but there's things you can try to do to stop guys like that. Obviously, they're going to score. Like, there's nothing you can do against scoring, but you can limit them the best of your ability. But no, I wouldn't say I was intimidated by any means.
Okay. You can answer this honestly here.
All right.
Did you ever get dunked on?
Actually, no. If I knew I was about to get dunked on, I knew better to get out of the way. I don't think I actually never got dunked on once.
You're not trying to see yourself on someone's highlight reel on Instagram, right?
Never.
Did you ever dunk on someone?
No, I don't think so either. That's kind of a rough one. I wish I could say I did, but I don't think I ever did.
Can you dunk?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, so take me back the first time you ever dunked. When was it?
In game or just in general?
Just in general.
I honestly couldn't tell you the first time I dunked. Because I don't count it if it's not clean. So like if it bobbles around the rim.
I like it.
There's a lot of those that I had.
Yeah.
But my first in-game dunk, I believe, was my sophomore year of AAU. And I was just feeling really bouncy that day. And I had a breakaway and I just kind of slammed it. And I honestly kind of surprised myself a little bit. Because I've never dunked, and I didn't know if I was feeling bouncy or not until I jumped, and I kind of just went up and dunked it, and I was like, what? So, like, that was probably the first time I dunked in game. But I don't think I could tell you the first time I actually dunked. I don't really remember it.
I can't imagine like you're in an AAU game or something like that, and you're not sure if you're going to be able to dunk or whatever, and you go up and you dunk. I can't imagine like what the adrenaline was that was rushing through you at that moment. It must have been a pretty big one, big feeling.
I know. And if you miss, it's even worse because like it's 2 free points, and then if you miss the dunk, it makes it look even worse. So like you gotta put it down at that point.
I mean, at that point, like if you miss it and someone gets on you, just say, "Hey, I want to see you try and dunk."
That's a good point.
That's pretty easy. Okay, so what are some of your like middle school memories of playing sports and basketball specifically?
In middle school, I only played basketball because I think at that point I was done with football. I was done with baseball, so I was pretty much fully on to basketball. The best memory I have from there was I had this one game in our middle school gym, and I had like 25 points in like 8 or 9 minutes. Like I couldn't miss, and I think I only ended up with 30, but I had like 25 in the first half. But it was a pretty good memory because like I hit like a 3-point and one, and everyone was going crazy, and I can just remember that. So that's probably one of the biggest like individual memories. Team wise, I think we lost one game in middle school, and it was our very last or one of our last games was to Center Grove in the county championship.
Yeah.
But that was the only game we lost in middle school. We had a really, really solid team. And then a bunch of like transfers happened, a bunch of people stopped playing. So like our team kind of, I wouldn't say fell apart, but it wasn't as strong as it was in middle school.
Okay. Yeah, that's weird. So where did some of the guys transfer to?
We had a couple guys move to Center Grove, a couple guys moved to Martinsville. It was just kind of all over the place, but we were really, I'd say we were loaded for the most part in middle school, and then guys kind of branched off going into high school.
Huh. Well, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
So you're starting high school, and you're getting in now. Did you have the same coach the whole time at high
for
school?
Basketball? Yeah.
Okay. So what's that kind of like? What's the difference with middle school and high school, and how are you getting prepared and everything for that?
Are you talking about middle school to high school?
Yeah.
Okay, so in middle school we had a different coach than we did in high school. But
yeah, no, I'm talking about, was Dickie your coach all 4 years?
Oh yeah.
Okay, I didn't know when he came in.
Yeah, he came in halfway through my 8th grade year.
Okay.
And he coached half a season, and then I came up as a freshman. He coached me all 4 years.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was nice having him there all 4 years. No kind of like switch ups there. He came in right away and noticed we had a pretty good class, so he worked with us right from the get go. And yeah, I mean, our class was, I'd say, one of the better classes that came through. in my opinion. And he knew that, and he got to work with us right away. So it was nice to like build the relationship right away with him, even before we were in high school, and kind of like get that going through all the way through our high school careers.
Yeah. So what did you find was the biggest difference? Obviously the competition and everything like that. But what about from like the workouts or anything like that from middle school to high school? And what was your biggest, like your toughest transition?
Just the pace of the game. I feel like in middle school, it's a lot like slower, I'd say. High school definitely picks up a bit, and obviously the competition's a little better. Outside of that, I didn't really see a huge transition for me. I felt like the game pretty much stayed the same for me. It's just me working on getting stronger and stuff like that, because obviously people are bigger and stronger in high school. But outside of that, I felt like the game was pretty much the same. I guess like learning new plays and learning the offenses and defenses at a higher rate was definitely a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Was there ever any moment when you started that it was kind of like that kind of said to yourself, "Oh, this is different than middle school, or this is a different type of game"?
Yeah. Coach Dickey wasn't afraid to get on you. I feel like that was the biggest thing. Like if you messed up, he wasn't afraid to tell you. I feel like in middle school, it wasn't really the case because we were always winning.
Yeah.
So whenever we lost, he wouldn't make sure to tell us, "Hey, you need to do this better. You need to do that better." And I think that's what made us so successful going down the line into my junior and senior year is we got the coaching early and we got it pretty often. I'd say like he wasn't really one to shy away from telling you if you did it wrong, if you did it right, or if you could do it better. So that was definitely something that was different.
With you, like, how do you like to be coached? Because there are some people who like to be coached, like can take the getting on and can take that. And then there's other people who don't necessarily like that. They like an arm around their shoulder, saying, "Hey, this is what you got to do here." Does it matter to you, or can you take it, or?
Yeah, I feel like I can take it either way. I'm a very coachable player, I feel like. So I want my coaches to get on me if I'm doing something wrong or if I can do something better. I'm not afraid to be coached, and I feel like that's a big thing, is you need to be able to be coachable. And I feel like I had that, and I wasn't really like mad if the coach yelled at me. I knew he was just trying to make me better and make the team all around us better. So
yeah. Okay. So we're starting high school. Your freshman year. Kind of take us through your freshman year. Did you play JV, varsity, freshman? What was it?
my freshman year, I was mainly a JV player. I dressed for varsity games, but didn't really play a whole lot. I think we had a core group of like 9 guys that were juniors, seniors that played ahead of me, and so I didn't get a whole lot of playing time my freshman year in terms of varsity. But I definitely learned a lot playing JV and learning from the guys ahead of me. They were a great group of seniors and juniors, and I feel like they helped us learn a lot about the game and like help me improve it into my sophomore year. But yeah, I feel like I learned a lot playing JV instead of jumping straight to varsity.
Right.
And I can improve my game a lot playing JV that way in hopes of preparing for varsity the next year.
Yeah, because you're still playing against, for the most part, older guys.
Yeah.
But you're actually getting to play as opposed to just kind of sitting on varsity. It would be something where you don't get a whole lot of experience or anything like that, and you just have to sit there. You're going to learn, obviously, more by playing than you are by sitting. So.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So how was the team? How was the team your freshman year?
My freshman year, the team was really solid. I think they went 17-7, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. They lost in the sectional championship to a really good Franklin Central team, which I thought we should have won, but we kind of let the game slip away from us. But yeah, the team was really good. Like I said, I learned a lot from those guys. Those 6 seniors, I believe it was. They taught me a lot and they pushed me in practice. And I owe it to them a lot of where I am today, like pushing me to be stronger and a better basketball player. Like, because JV team would always go against varsity in practice, so they would bully the JV team and just kind of run us. But we kind of needed that in a way to help improve and get better going down the line.
It's like the big brothers beating up on the little brothers.
Right.
All right. So your sophomore season, Are you playing varsity by this point?
Yeah, sophomore season I started.
Okay. And how was that? How was that year? You guys had lost probably a decent amount from the year before as far as seniors, and you had to kind of step in. How was that for you?
It was definitely different. It's kind of crazy going from a JV starter to a varsity starter in just a span of 1 year. But I think I was ready for it more than anything because of what I went through over the summer and like what I went through the year as a freshman. But yeah, I felt like I could jump in and be capable of starting and putting up solid numbers as a sophomore, regardless of how young I was, even though I was going up against older players.
What position do you play? Did you play?
I played anything from a point guard to a small forward.
Okay, okay. And so, what was the team like and everything that sophomore year?
So we had 3 juniors starting and then 2 sophomores. No,
Okay.
3 seniors starting and then 2 sophomores.
Who are the two sophomores?
Me and then Reese Thompson.
Okay, okay. And then, so team wise, like as far as the record, how did you guys do?
As far as our overall record, it was just a little bit over 500, I believe.
Okay,
But in conference, I believe we were undefeated.
nice.
And yeah, I think that was the year we went outright champions, if I'm not mistaken, in conference, which is the first time it was done in a while. I think 30 years it was.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, overall, our record was solid, I'd say, but we definitely knew we could do better.
So you're talking about, we were talking earlier about the summer and kind of the workouts that you did over the summer to get you prepared. What was your workout routine like over the summer throughout your 4 years, and what's it look like? Because a lot of people strive to play sports and to play varsity or even to go on to college and play. But I saw a quote one time. It says everyone wants to play D1 until they've got a 5 a.m. workout.
Yeah.
So what's your workout regimen kind of look like?
I think before my senior year, a lot of it was time consumed with AAU. So it kept me in the gym at least. But I had a lot of AAU stuff going on compared to high school stuff. But there was always a little break in the middle of the summer. Like you take a month off from AAU and it's devoted to the high school. So a lot of that was like going to camps, little shootouts, like doing stuff like that. So a lot of it was with the team, more individual. But I tried to get in individually the most I could, like get in a gym, get to the weight room, all that sorts of stuff when I had the time. Yeah, but a lot of it was either consumed by AAU practice or games and tournaments, or the month in June where it's all high school ball.
So you didn't really even have a whole lot of time to kind of individually own your skills. It would just be more of a team practices for AAU and stuff.
Yeah, I didn't really get into a lot of the individual stuff until after basketball season was over my junior year after when was it? After that summer was over, because you can only play AAU for so long. You can't play it after your senior year of basketball in high school.
Yeah. Okay.
So a lot of that was still AAU until that point, and then I started getting into more individualized workouts since I didn't have AAU going on.
Okay. Yeah. So, and then, I mean, have you started looking ahead to this summer as far as what you're going to do this summer?
Yeah, I think I've been talking with some of the Franklin College coaches about doing workouts and what I need to be doing conditioning wise to get back into basketball shape, because it'll be 2 years off for me until I've played my next game, because I pretty much devoted all this fall and stuff to football at Ball State. But yeah, so we're gonna work on that. I've been lifting a lot. Obviously, it's kind of hard to get out and lift with all the stuff going around now. So I've been doing a lot of at-home workouts, trying to do some ball handling when I can in the garage, and all sorts of stuff. Whatever I can do to stay on top of my game and not like slack off, because it's easy to slack off when people are at home doing nothing. So I'm trying to stay on top of that the best I can.
Yeah, I got you. So you're starting your junior year. You're definitely going to be more of a focal point of the team this year. Is that kind of when everything started clicking a little bit more for you?
Yeah, I'd say so. So my junior year is when we graduated. We graduated 3 starters that year, so it was pretty much my team, I'd say, at that point for the most part. So I kind of had to step into a leadership role. It was definitely different because I've never had to be like the main guy of a team until this point. So it's definitely different for me, but I felt like I tackled it pretty well, and I was able to be as much of a leader as I could to some of the younger guys that were playing up, because we had about 5-6 guys in my class that played, and then outside of that, like below us, there wasn't a whole lot of like talent that was able to step up. So I definitely had to shape those guys into shape the best I could. Drew Byerly was a guy that stepped up big for us in that time because we graduated a bunch of guys, and he had to step into a bigger role even at a younger age than I did. He started as a freshman, or
Right.
started as a freshman, so he was definitely a big piece to fill in. But outside of that, I felt like I had to take in a leadership role as a junior and start kind of like leading the team to be successful.
Now, as far as leadership goes, do you consider yourself, are you a vocal leader? Or you lead by example, or what, as far as leadership goes, how are you?
I feel like I'm more of a lead by example type player. I wasn't really the most vocal leader, but I had my spurts where I'd be like, "Hey, you need to do this, you need to do that." If I was mad about something, like, I'm not gonna hide it in because I want to win more than anything. But yeah, for the most part, I'd say I'd led by example with my play, and I feel like, or at least I hope it wore off on a lot of the younger guys.
Yeah. So then, your junior year, you're talking about how you're stepping up more. How did that go as far as team wise?
Junior year was nice because I was starting to play with guys consistently who I've played with since I was in 2nd grade. So I feel like our chemistry was really solid. Overall, we only had 2 guys playing in the senior class, so we pretty much had the same team for my junior year as we did our senior year, just without the 2 seniors. So it was nice to get started our junior year and, build up that chemistry at the varsity level. And then we took it into senior year with pretty much the same exact team, but it was really just like a repeat year team wise, but we had a lot more experience and a lot more, chemistry to build up.
Yeah. So now after your junior year, between your junior year and your senior year, you're ready for basketball, but the calls have been all over you.
Yeah.
And bugging you, just like a little mosquito, just keep coming at you. And what was kind of the point where you decided, okay, I'm going to give this football thing a shot?
It wasn't till middle of June, late June, when I decided to finally be like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to give it a shot. So they were already doing summer workouts before I even decided to join. So like I was already behind at that point. And then I got to come in and learn pretty much a whole new sport that I haven't played since 4th, 5th grade. So it was definitely a lot to take in. But they were really good coaches over there. They taught me the ropes, and, they got me doing stuff that I needed to do. Like running routes is definitely different. Learning the playbook was definitely different than basketball. It's a lot more complex than basketball, I'd say. But I took it in day by day and, really dedicated myself to it for the most part, just to learn all the plays and, help the team out the best I could.
So are you still doing AAU basketball that summer too?
Yes, I was. So it was kind of like, I got to do the workouts, and then, some weekends I got a tournament, and then throughout the week I got basketball and then football workouts at night. So it was definitely hectic.
So that summer, what was the latest you slept?
Probably 8 or 9 at the latest, but that was like maybe like on a weekday.
So if you I'm sure because of moratorium week. So what about when you didn't have any of that stuff? Like if someone said to you, Corey, we're going to give you one day, you don't have to work out, you're not going to lose anything. You just stay in bed, sleep as late as you want. How late were you sleeping that summer?
I guess it all depended on when I went to bed, because I'm not a guy that can go to bed at 10 and then sleep until 12 the next day. Like, I'm pretty much on a schedule where I get 8 to 9 hours of sleep a night. So say I go to bed at midnight, I probably slept in at the latest to 10 because I naturally wake up around then.
Yeah. See, if I did something like that, then I would probably go to bed at like 8 and wake up at like 11 the next day.
Jeez. I don't think I could do that personally.
I'm just kidding. I'm kind of a weirdo. I function off like 4 hours of sleep. So I'm good. I can get up. I like to get up early, but if I was like your age, I can imagine I would just been sleeping in and yeah, that's with all that energy. That's a lot of energy. So you've got how did it go when you told your basketball coach that you were going to play football?
He was supportive. He's a big fan of multi-sport athletes.
Yeah.
He knew as long as I didn't get hurt, obviously, like severely, he was all for it. He felt like I had a lot to offer too. He's like, go for it, man. It's going to make you better, not only as an athlete, but especially on the basketball court. And it definitely showed. I could tell a lot of improvements in my footwork and stuff just because of what I did during football season and translating into the basketball season. I could definitely tell my footwork was better. I felt stronger. I felt more explosive, all sorts of stuff. So I feel like he was all for it for sure.
Did he, as you were walking out the door, he's like, all right, yeah, good luck. Did he kind of grab you by the arm and say, if you get hurt, I will kill you?
No, that was more my parents' job to do that. No, he was supportive for sure.
So the first time you're out on the field, you catch a pass, you get hit. Is it a shock, or was it like, oh yeah, I do like this. This is good, or?
It wasn't. I wasn't really too scared to get hit, unless Clayton was coming at me. Then I'd run out of bounds.
Right. Yeah.
Thing. But yeah, I wasn't really too scared to get hit. I knew what I signed up for. I knew I was going to get hit. It's part of the game, so I wasn't really too worried about that too much.
Was there ever a moment where you kind of wavered on your choice and you're like, why did I do this? I need to leave and go play basketball.
No, not really, honestly. I started to really enjoy playing and, being around the team once I got comfortable with it, like at first I was like, yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I don't really know too many people on the team. I only know a few guys and I don't really know the coaches that well. Like, so at first I was definitely skeptical about it, but once I got familiar with the locker room environment and all that stuff, I started to feel more at home in a sense.
That's good. So what's kind of your memory your senior year of football? I mean, obviously it's something that you enjoy a great deal because you went to a Division I school and played your freshman year of college. What's your, just summarize your senior year of football?
So, like I said, I had no idea what to expect out of it. I kind of just planned on playing and that be it. But I came out one game and set like 4 records in one game, and it was kind of crazy. I was like, wow, I can actually do this. Like, I'm not terrible. So then I went on with the season, and, I think more than anything, individual stuff aside, like what I built, like relationship wise with the coaches and with the team was what stuck with me the most. Like, because being on a football team in a football environment, it's completely different than basketball because there's 50 some players on a football team compared to maybe 20 at the most on a basketball team. So you really got to connect with each and every player to build that bond, build that chemistry. And so I think that's what stuck with me the most is how to build relationships like that and how to build up the chemistry with all those football players.
Yeah. So what records did you set in those games?
Most yards in a game, most catches in a game. It was over 200. I'm not sure what the exact number was, but it was right over 200. I believe, I don't know if I got the touchdown in a game record, but I was close. And then I think as the season went on, once the numbers added up, I ended up breaking 2 more records, so it totaled out to be 4.
Okay, nice. So is that like some game where you're just running and you're like, this is great?
Yeah, running go routes and having Drew throw me the ball is not too hard as long as I catch it.
All right, so transitioning from football to basketball your senior year, you guys, I would assume, have some pretty high expectations your senior year.
Right. Yeah, for sure, because like I said, we only lost the 2 seniors, and they weren't really in the rotation as much my junior year. So we came back my senior year with pretty much the same team, and we wanted to be better, way better than we were last year. We lost by 30 in the sectional championship my junior year to Center Grove, and we all knew that wasn't acceptable, and we had much more to offer. So we definitely came in with a different mentality for my senior year.
So, kind of walk through that year and your senior year, your record, and everything like that.
I don't remember the exact number. I believe we got to 18 wins, but we were the winningest regular season team that Franklin's ever had, I believe, for like a long time.
Yeah.
Which was something that we strive for. We wanted to be better than last year, but be better than any team has ever been, wins-wise. We fell short of a conference championship. My freshman through junior year, we were conference champs, so we wanted to get the 4th one, but we came up short of that. So that was definitely a disappointment in a way. But yeah, as far as record-wise, our record was really solid. We had a few letdown games; those always happen, but we felt really confident going into the end of the season, going into sectionals, like we could go out and really win a sectional championship.
And then in the sectionals, kind of walk us through what happened in that. I know that. Now, did you score 30 points in the sectional game?
I don't believe so. No.
Yeah. Was it? So what happened in the sectionals?
So we drew Martinsville our first game, which was a Tuesday night game, I believe, and we ended up winning that by like 8 or 9. So we went into Friday. We played Whiteland, and the game before that was Greenwood Center Grove, which was a really tight game that Greenwood almost stole from Center Grove, but Center Grove squeaked it out. And then we went to Whiteland. Whiteland's obviously a big rivalry for us, so we definitely had amped up ramifications for that. Like, obviously, it's a big game because it's sectionals, but it's Whiteland, so it's like even more of a big game. And we came out and really played well, I thought. That was actually the game I got my 1,000th point, so it was even more special that way.
Yeah.
And we ended up winning that game. So that was the ultimate goal, is to get to Saturday night to play Center Grove. And the next day I think we had a team lunch or team brunch, whatever, and then we went and did a little walkthrough to talk about the game plan, what we wanted to do to stop Trace and stop all the shooters they had. So we were definitely prepared for it, for sure. Going into the game, I could feel like, yeah, we're going to do this. Like, everyone in the locker room was really locked in. We came out, had a really good warm-up. We came in, kind of did our little prayer. Coach gave a little speech, and we were ready to go. And, going into the game, we had a little game plan to where we would spread the floor a little more, maybe not take as many shots, kind of slow the game down and play into our hands a little bit more, which a lot of people, I don't know if you saw some of the sectional scores this year in the 20s.
Yeah.
But like, if you got to do it, you got to do it.
Right.
You do anything to win. Like, a lot of people complain about it. Like, you should have a shot clock, but I felt there was moments in the game we didn't just hold the ball. We just played slower. Like, we were still moving around, getting shots up. But, we kind of played to our style of play that we needed to keep the game close and give us a shot to win. And, yeah. So this is the part where I hate talking about, because we should have won this game, but we had 2 chances, one in the end of a regulation, one in overtime to win. Like, we had the ball with 5 seconds left, and we couldn't get it done, and it just sucks because we played the perfect game, in my opinion, and we just came up a little short. And it definitely is a game that's going to stick with me forever. It definitely haunts me.
Have you watched that game at all?
I actually haven't. I haven't sat down and watched it start to finish like I thought I would by now. It just kind of sucks. I've seen videos of like the last few plays.
Yeah.
But I haven't actually sat down and broke the whole game down.
How much do you think about it right now?
Well, right now I'm thinking about it a lot. But there was even moments when I went up to Muncie this fall, and I'm in a football locker room thinking about how we lost the sectional championship in basketball. So it's like, it sticks with me that much. Every day I think about it.
That's
and it's definitely a stinger.
Yeah, definitely. So, so your football career or your basketball's over. Um, how did it come about, like that you ended up playing football for Ball State and not basketball? Because I mean, just in talking to you and everything, it seems like basketball is kind of your main love and your first love sport wise. How did that go? And as far as like basketball, were you recruited for basketball?
Yeah, so it wasn't until the middle of my senior year for basketball when I started getting like offers and looks for football, and it kind of came out of nowhere. Honestly, I was in talks with a coach from Marion, um, and I went on a visit there, and then they offered me, and then not too long after Ball State, I had really good connection with Ball State because of Clayton. So I've talked to the coaches before, and they came in and talked to me during class one day, and they're like, "Hey, we have a preferred walk-on spot for you if you want it." So I went on a visit there. They offered me the spot, and then a few days later, I I was like, you know what, I want to do this. This is too big of an opportunity to pass up. Ball State's a really good place. I have older siblings that all went to Ball State and they loved it. So that's how that came about. Um, as far as basketball, I had a couple NAIA offers. I had a lot of D3 interest, but um, I feel like I built such a good connection playing football, and I really enjoyed it that I thought, you know what, I kind of want to do this in college. So that's why I kind of chose football over basketball in the end.
Yeah. So you're at Ball State. Kind of talk. What was the year like for you? Was it something you thought, but it's kind of one of those things where basketball is just your first love and you just missed it too much.
So I went up to training camp, which started August 1st and went for about 2-3 weeks. And it was grueling. I'm not going to lie. It was nothing like I've ever been through. Um, and I feel like physically in the summer, I prepared for it. Like I was lifting really hard in the summer before I went up to training camp. But I feel like mentally, I had no idea what I got myself into. Like I only played 1 year of football, and I never really got to see like the meat and grind of what it's like. And then I go to training camp, and it's like 2-3 weeks nonstop, 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. at night. You got football meetings, football practice, lifts. You got all this stuff going on with little breaks. And I'm like, wow, this is way different than I thought it was going to be. And on top of that, you're lining up against D1 athletes, and they're here on scholarship, and you're here as a walk on. So like
Right.
you gotta really prove yourself. And I was already behind because I lacked the football experience. These guys have been playing all their lives, and I only played my senior year. So like I was already way behind. Um, so yeah, that was definitely a tough 2-3 weeks. And I talked to some of the Ball State coaches, and I was like, I don't think this is for me. Um, so they were like, "What are you gonna do?" And I said, "I think I'm just gonna stop playing and just start focusing on my classes." And they said, "Okay." So after that, I pretty much took 2-3 months and started focusing on my classes and getting good grades and stuff. And this is probably the first time in my life I'm not playing a sport to go along with it. So I felt like it was definitely different, and I felt like something was missing. So I had a couple talks with some close friends and family, and I was like, something just doesn't feel right. Like I feel like I'm missing something in my life, and it was the game of basketball. So I reached out to them and told them that, and they were like, you know what, you should try to play basketball again. And so I reached out to some coaches at Franklin who knew I wasn't playing football anymore, and they wanted me. And I was like, you know what, Franklin College is a really good place. It's home for me. It's right down the road, and it's a great campus. I like what they were doing with their team, and I was like, you know what, let's do it. So that's pretty much how that all went about.
Yeah. Now they have a coaching change that's coming up. So how is that going? How does that affect you? Did you know that was coming, or did you? I mean, he's been there for 30,
Over 30 years, I believe,
30,
coaching.
almost 40 years, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was probably one of those things that was coming sooner rather than later. But with everything that's been going on, it kind of hurried the process up. So, did you? Was he the one you talked to, or was it a different coach?
I talked to a couple of the assistants more than anything. So I wasn't talking to the head coach about coming to play. It was more of the assistants. And actually, the day I decided to commit to Franklin College was when he was announced the president and
Oh,
he
okay.
announced he was going to stop. So that really didn't have a huge effect on my decision. I didn't know it was going to happen until he was announced president.
So really, his being announced president kind of took the spotlight away from your announcement at Franklin College.
If that's what you want to say, yeah, a little bit.
Well, the big news of the day was going to be you signing there, but then they have to go and name a president. So, gosh. So, what are some things, because you're going to be eligible right away, correct?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, are you just super excited to start playing basketball again? I mean, I can't imagine just the excitement and anticipation you've got and how this has to be screwing everything up for you.
Yeah, it just definitely sucks. I'm stuck at home for whoever knows when, because I just want to be in the gym putting up shots right now. But yeah, I'm definitely excited. I feel like this is where I should have been all along, and I'm kind of glad it took me this long to figure it out, because I experienced some stuff at Ball State that I'll remember forever, playing football and stuff like that. So I'm not gonna say I wish I didn't do it, because I don't believe I have any regrets. Like, I made a decision for a reason, and it kind of led me to where I am, and I'm excited that it led me here back home. So yeah, I'm definitely excited to get back to it and get to work this summer and putting in work in the fall to get ready for next winter.
So, what are you going to be majoring in at Franklin?
I'm going to be a marketing major.
Marketing? Okay. Yeah, good, good. Okay, so a few more questions before we get you out of here. I like knowing, I asked Clayton this, and he gave me a good answer. What was the best, trash talk that you ever had? Like, what was the best line that you ever had on the field, on the court, whatever?
There wasn't a whole lot of football trash talk. I'm not going to lie. I feel like there should have been more now looking back on it.
Did Clayton probably talk to get him out?
Yeah, during practice, he was definitely running his mouth a little bit. But there was actually a time I remember where we were doing offense defense, like towards the end of practice, kind of like doing our 2-minute drills or whatever. And his defense, they were just kind of shutting us down a little bit. And he was running his mouth, saying words I probably shouldn't be saying. And his dad actually pulled him off the field and was yelling at him a little bit. So I thought that was a little bit funny. But as far as basketball, there were just moments where I'd stare people down. There wasn't really moments where I said stuff. I wasn't really a huge trash talker. I think I only had one technical my whole 4 years playing basketball.
What was that for?
It was for tripping a kid.
He probably deserved it.
Yeah, he definitely did. He's a punk, but we don't got to get into it.
Okay, so we do leave a question. And so the person who was here last left a question for you, but he had to get off. So real quick. So we're just going to go with Mr. Ahaus, Steve Ahouse's question for him, which was, who is the best athlete you played with at FCHS?
Played with? Ooh. Probably Clayton. Clayton's definitely up there because he's just a freak. Definitely a football junkie. He loves playing football. He loves talking football. He loves being in the weight room. He brings a good attitude every day. I think another one would be Drew Byerly. Just to be that big of a dude and still be able to move like he can definitely blew my mind. I've been playing with Drew ever since I was in first grade playing basketball. He played up with us a lot because he was older. So I played with him a lot, even though he's a year below me. But I'd say those two were definitely two of the better athletes I played with.
Yeah.
As far as diversity, because Drew did it all. He played quarterback, football team, and he's a 4-year starter for basketball. Like, it was pretty crazy playing with him. And then obviously Clay's just a different level of an athlete. So yeah, those are probably two of the best athletes I've played with.
Yeah. So one of the things I was thinking of when you were talking about, the Ball State 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. and then how you're sitting in a football locker room sometime thinking about how you lost the sectionals in basketball, and it's like that probably is kind of a moment where you're thinking, I don't know if this is necessarily for me. Whereas I'm thinking like 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. football. That's got Clayton Call written all over it.
Yeah, just a little bit. He loves it. He loves the grind, and I definitely learned a lot from him in the 1 year I played with him. He's always, taking notes, watching a lot of film, eating right, lifting right.
Yeah.
He's doing all that stuff. So he definitely wore off of me a little bit. And
Yeah.
as far as, the commitment level he brings to the game.
Yeah. Okay, so Chaz isn't here, but his question, he always leaves a question because he's a big movie guy. So, what are like 3 to 5 of your favorite movies that you like?
Oh. All right. I'm a big fan of Shawshank Redemption.
Ooh.
I'm a big fan of Morgan Freeman. I think that's one of my favorite movies. Sports movies, I'd say my favorite sports movies, probably Remember the Titans.
Okay.
Being a Hoosier, obviously Hoosiers is a
Naturally,
big movie. I've watched that growing up a lot. And then I'm a big Will Ferrell guy, so I like Step Brothers. I like the other guys. Any Will Ferrell movies,
Yeah.
definitely on my top movies list. So those are probably 4 or 5 of the top.
I like it.
I've watched. Yeah.
Those are some good ones. Those are some good ones. So, do you have a question for Mike Hall? He is our guest on Wednesday.
Oh. Let's say what was it like coaching your first year compared to the last year you coached?
Ooh, that's a good question. I like it. All right. Okay, so thank you, Corey, so much for joining us today, or joining me, I guess. We appreciate your time, and keep us posted on everything goes on at Franklin College. Chaz and I are both Franklin College grads, so I'm sure we'll get over there at some point and watch you play. And good luck with everything. And hopefully we can get out of this coronavirus soon, and you can start working out for basketball.
Yeah, no kidding. Thank you again. Thanks for having me.
All right, man. Have a good one.
Take care.
For Inside Franklin Athletics, I am Brian Powers, and we will see you on Wednesday.